Hi dear students, listen carefully. In the last class, we have discussed about colligative properties. In that colligative properties, we have discussed relative lowering of vapor pressure, RLVP, the relative lowering of vapor pressure we are discussed. And next we are discussed about that elevation of boiling point, elevation of boiling point, delta TB also we are discussed. Now in the today's class, we are discussing about depression of freezing point, depression of freezing point. Okay students, delta TF, depression of freezing point. So for depression, we need to discuss about the depression of freezing point. First, what is freezing point temperature? First we need to discuss. The freezing point temperature is nothing but it is the temperature at which vapor pressure of liquid is equals to the vapor pressure of solid. Means liquid is an equilibrium with solid. Okay students, a liquid is an equilibrium with solid. Okay, both are exist in equilibrium state. At what temperature, if both are exist in equilibrium state, at that temperature the vapor pressure of liquid is equals to vapor pressure of solid, and both are exist in equilibrium state, the temperature is known as freezing point temperature. The temperature is known as a freezing point temperature. Okay students, generally concentration of the solution increases. Okay students, let's see, the concentration of solution increases, concentration increases, then the vapor pressure of the solution decreases, and freezing point temperature, freezing point, freezing point temperature also decreases. Freezing point temperature will be decreases, and vapor pressure is also decreasing, and concentration increases, the vapor pressure is decreases, and freezing point temperature decreases. But boiling point, what happens dear students? The boiling point increases. That's why this colligative property, name it what it is dear students, depression of freezing point. Means the freezing point temperature is decreasing in a solution. Okay, so how much it is decreased, the freezing point temperature, how much it is decreased in its solvent and its solution. The difference in their freezing point temperatures is known as depression of freezing point temperature. Okay students, so the concentrated solutions, means the solution freezing point is always less than the solvent freezing point. Means concentration increases, the freezing point temperature decreases, freezing point temperature decreases. Therefore solvent freezing point is more than the solution freezing point temperature. Let it be solvent freezing point is T naught and solution freezing point is T. Okay, so the solution freezing point is always less when compared to its pure solvent. Okay, now what is depression of freezing point? Delta TF definition. Let's see dear students, the difference in the freezing point temperature of solvent and its solution is known as, is called delta TF, is called delta TF, depression of a freezing point temperature. According to that, delta TF is equals to T naught minus T. What is T naught dear students? The T naught indicates the freezing point temperature of solvent, T indicates the freezing point temperature of solution. Okay students, now we need to derive the delta TF formula. So for that derivation, I am taking a graph between the vapor pressure with respect to the freezing point temperatures, with respect to freezing point temperature. So in that graph, I am taking pure solvent and two solutions in its at different concentrations of two solutions. If concentration increases, then the freezing point will be decreases. For example, solvent is a pure state, its freezing point temperature is T naught. If you observe that in the graph, T naught indicates the freezing point temperature of solvent. And solution 1 and solution 2. Solution 1 freezing point temperature is T1 and solution 2 freezing point temperature is T2. Means T1 is more than the T2, means solution 2 is more concentration when compared to solution 1. Okay, and their vapor pressure of solvent is P0, and the solution 1 vapor pressure is P1 and solution 2 vapor pressure is P2. This is the graph dear students. From the graph, from the above graph, A points, if you observe that this is the point A is the freezing point temperature of solvent, and B is the freezing point temperature of solution 1, and D is the freezing point temperature of solution 2. From this graph, triangle ABC and triangle ADE, triangle ABC and triangle ADE. So AE by AC, AE by AE by AC is equals to AD by AD by BC. Okay, students, according that the difference AE is nothing but P0 minus P2 and ASC is nothing but P0 minus P1 is equals to T0 minus T2 divided by T0 minus T1 is nothing but P0 minus P2 is nothing but delta P2, lowering of vapor pressure. Delta P is nothing but lowering of vapor pressure of second solution by lowering of vapor pressure of first solution is equals to the depression of freezing point temperature of first solution. Okay, sorry, the second solution divided by depression of freezing point temperature of first solution. Okay, so from this ratio, it indicates the delta TF. The delta TF is directly proportional to lowering of vapor pressure. Okay, students, delta P indicates lowering of vapor pressure, lowering of vapor pressure. So the delta TF is directly proportional to lowering of vapor pressure, and delta P is directly also, we know that already we are discussed in elevation of boiling point, in which delta P is directly proportional to molality. M indicates molality. Okay, students. So if delta P is directly proportional to M as well as delta P is directly proportional to delta TF, that's why from the above two, delta TF means depression of freezing point is also directly proportional to molality. So the proportionality, if we have to remove, then we need to introduce one constant that is called Kf. Okay, that Kf is called cryoscopic constant or freezing point constant. And then delta TF is equals to Kf into molality. What is the molality formula, dear students? Weight of solute divided by gram molecular weight of solute into 1000 by weight of solvent in grams, 1000 by weight of solvent in grams. This is the formula for delta TF. Delta TF is equals to Kf into molality, Kf into molality, and molality formula is equals to weight by gram molecular weight of solute into 1000 by weight of solvent, where Kf is called cryoscopic constant or freezing point constant, Now what is Kf formula and how that Kf value is depending? The Kf value is always depends on the nature of solvent. Kf value is depends on the nature of solvent. If solvent is changed in a solution, then the Kf value also will be changes. For example, commonly used solvent or universal solvent is water. So for that water Kf value, cryoscopic constant or freezing point constant for water is 1.85 Kelvin kg per mole. Kelvin kg per mole. And the Kf value is equals to R T naught square by delta H of fusion, enthalpy of fusion, Okay. This is the formula, dear students. Kf is equals to R T naught square divided by enthalpy of fusion. What is R? So in this, R indicates universal gas constant, and T naught indicates this T naught. This R indicates universal gas constant, and T naught indicates the freezing point temperature of solvent. T naught indicates what, dear students? Freezing point temperature of solvent, and delta H of fusion means enthalpy of fusion, fusion. Okay, then this is also equals to, for 1 molar solution means M is equals to 1, then Kf is equals to R T naught square by 1000 into Lf, What is Lf? Lf means, Lf indicates latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion. What is latent heat of fusion? Latent heat of fusion means it is the temperature at which solid is converted into liquid. It is the temperature at which a solid is converted into liquid is known as a latent heat of fusion. Okay, students. So the Kf indicates cryoscopic constant or freezing point constant. Its values are depends on the nature of solvent. If solvent is changing, then automatically Kf value will be changes. So in examination, either NEET or JEE or CET or board examinations, whatever the examination, compulsory they will give the Kf value for the given solution in the solvent. For the given solution, solvent Kf value they will give. But water is a universal solvent. That's why that value we need to remember. So the Kf value for water is 1.85 Kelvin kg per mole. So the units for Kf is equals to Kelvin kg per mole. Units are Kelvin kg per mole. That units also you have to remember, dear students. Okay, students, this is about depression of a freezing point. Depression of freezing point means the freezing point temperature of always solution is less than the solvent. That's why the difference in the freezing point temperature of solvent and solution is known as depression of freezing point, delta Tf. So the delta Tf is equals to Kf into molality. That you have to remember. That formula is very, very important. So molality formula already in the starting classes only we are discussed. Just you have to write molality formula. According to that, delta Tf is equals to Kf into molality means weight by gram molecular weight of solute into 1000 by weight of a solvent in grams. Okay, students, and Kf value also we need to remember for water. The remaining solvents compulsory they will give in a exam. Okay, students, this is about depression of freezing point. Let's see that next fourth one means another important colligative property is osmosis. Okay, osmosis related osmotic pressure. So the fourth colligative property is osmotic pressure. Before discussing about that osmotic pressure, first we need to discuss about what is osmosis. Okay, after that we need to discuss about osmotic pressure. Okay, students, let's see. First we'll discuss about that osmosis. Okay, let's see osmosis. What is osmosis? Osmosis. Osmosis means osmosis is nothing but the flow of solvent molecules. Is nothing but the flow of solvent molecules from the flow of solvent molecules from lower concentration to higher concentration lower concentration to higher concentration through semi-permeable membrane, through SPM, through semi-permeable membrane is known as osmosis. Okay, students, see, osmosis definition is nothing but the flow of solvent molecules. Like a solvent, if you are taking water, so for example, lower concentration and higher concentration. Other lower concentration means sometimes only solvent molecules are present in one side, and another side solution is present. Then in middle you have to keep one SPM, semi-permeable membrane. Then the water molecules means the solvent molecules are flows from lower concentration to higher concentration region through SPM. For example, this is the semi-permeable membrane. You have to imagine that this is SPM, semi-permeable membrane. Now this is one box. The middle SPM is present. Now this is lower concentrated solution. Okay, for example, this is 0.1 molar aqueous NaCl. This is 0.5 molar aqueous NaCl. Now the water molecules from lower concentration. This solvent is water molecules is flows from, this is the flow of direction. This is the direction the water molecules are flowing. This is known as a osmosis. This is known as osmosis. Okay, students. Now, osmosis process means we are using semi-permeable membrane. Commonly used semi-permeable membranes, SPMs. Semi-permeable membranes. Examples, you have to observe that one is animal bladder. Animal bladder. The second one is cellophane paper. Okay, and another one is parchment paper. Parchment paper. And some inorganic materials, cupric ferrocyanide. Cupric ferrocyanide. Cupric ferrocyanide and a calcium phosphate, Ca3PO4 twice. Calcium phosphate. These are commonly used SPM, semi-permeable membranes. Okay, students. So osmosis means the flow of solvent molecules from lower concentration region to higher concentration region through SPM, semi-permeable membrane, is known as a osmosis. So commonly used semi-permeable membranes are animal bladder and cellophane paper and parchment paper and cupric ferrocyanide and calcium phosphates. Commonly we are using as a SPM. Now we need to discuss about osmotic pressure. Okay, what is osmotic pressure? Let's see, dear student. This is the colligative property. Osmotic pressure is the colligative property, not osmosis. Okay, osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure. The symbol is pi. What is osmotic pressure? Means it is the pressure required to just stop the osmosis process. Is known as a osmotic pressure. It is the pressure required to just stop the osmosis process. Osmosis process known as osmotic pressure. Known as a osmotic pressure. Okay, students, this definition is very important. Compulsory they're asking the question. Now osmotic pressure equation has been derived by Van 't Hoff equation. Van 't Hoff has derived the osmotic pressure equation. Okay, students. So how Van 't Hoff is derived? Because we know that colligative properties are the properties of dilute solution. So the Van 't Hoff has thought the dilute solutions are just like a ideal solutions. According to that ideal gas equation, Van 't Hoff also has derived the osmotic pressure equation by using a gas laws, because he thought dilute solutions behaves as ideal gases. Dilute solutions behaves as a ideal gases. Okay, students. Now we'll discuss about that Van 't Hoff equation for osmotic pressure. Okay, let's see, dear students. Van 't Hoff equation for osmotic pressure. Van 't Hoff equation for osmotic pressure. Fine. So here three laws are present. The first one is Van 't Hoff Boyle's law. Van 't Hoff Boyle's law. Okay, what is Van 't Hoff Boyle's law? Already we know that what is Boyle's law, dear students. The Boyle's law is nothing but at constant temperature, the pressure is inversely proportional to volume. And now the Van Hoff Boyle's law is also nothing but at constant temperature. At constant temperature, the osmotic pressure pi is inversely proportional to volume. Pi is inversely proportional to volume is known as a Van Hoff Boyle's law. This is the equation one. You have to remember, dear students. The second one is Van Hoff Charles law. Van Hoff Charles law. What is Van Hoff Charles law? Van Hoff Charles law is nothing but at constant concentration. At constant concentration. C is constant, dear student. Concentration is nothing but molarity. At constant concentration, pi is directly proportional to temperature. Osmotic pressure is directly proportional to temperature. This is the second equation. Now let's see the third one. The Van Hoff Avogadro's law. Van Hoff Avogadro's law. Van Hoff Avogadro's law. Van Hoff Avogadro's law is nothing but at constant temperature and concentration, the pi at constant temperature and concentration, osmotic pressure is directly proportional to number of moles. Osmotic pressure is directly proportional to number of moles of the solute. Okay, this is the third equation. From 1 and 2 and 3. From 1, 2 and 3, the osmotic pressure pi is directly proportional to Nt by V. Then proportionality you have to remove. Then we need to introduce one constant, that pi is equals to N RT by V. So the constant is V. Sorry, the constant is R. Here R is equals to gas constant. R is equals to gas constant. Okay, students. Let's see. Then the pi is equals to N by V. N by V is nothing but number of moles of solute divided by volume of the solution in liters. N by V is nothing but concentration. C into RT, where N by V is nothing but concentration. N by V is nothing but a concentration. Okay, students. So this is the osmotic pressure formula. The osmotic pressure formula is equals to pi is equals to CRT. Pi is equals to CRT. So C is nothing but N by V. So the volume in liters. The volume in liters is also we can write like that. C is nothing but N by V, means weight by gram molecular weight of solute into 1 by otherwise RT by V in liters. The RT by V in liters means weight by gram molecular weight means number of moles divided by volume of the solution in liters into RT, where R is nothing but gas constant. Sometimes in the R place the S they are giving, that S is called osmotic pressure constant. Okay, that S is also nothing but it's just like a universal gas constant values only we need to take. That's why this osmotic pressure formula has been derived by Van Hoff by using gas laws, because he thought dilute solutions also behaves like a ideal gases. According to that, Van Hoff Boyle's law is nothing but pi is inversely proportional to volume at constant temperature. Van Hoff Charles law, at constant concentration, pi is directly proportional to temperature. At constant and Avogadro's law, at constant temperature and concentration, the osmotic pressure is directly proportional to number of moles of solute. from the 1, 2, 3 equations, the pi is directly proportional to NT by V. NT by V. Okay. Then the proportionality we need to remove, means we have to introduce constant, that is called R. So here R is nothing but gas constant only, universal gas constant. Then the pi is equals to N by V is nothing but concentration of the solution, is nothing but mole per liter, is nothing but a moles per liter, moles per liter. Then pi is equals to CRT. So the pi also we can write weight by gram molecular weight of solute into RT by volume of the solution. This is about osmotic pressure formula. This is about osmotic pressure formula. Okay, students, let's see that next concepts related to osmotic pressure, that is isotonic solutions and hypertonic solutions and hypotonic solutions we need to discuss, and later we need to discuss about reverse osmosis process also. What is reverse osmosis and what is the importance of reverse osmosis also we need to discuss. Then this colligative properties will be over. Okay, students, let's see that isotonic solutions. Next, isotonic. What is the meaning of isotonic solutions? It's very, very important, dear students. This definition they're asking in board examination, as well as that related problems also coming in objective examination. Isotonic solution means at given temperature, the solutions which are having same osmotic pressure, means the solution, two solutions at constant temperature, their osmotic pressure is equal, then it is called as isotonic solutions. Osmotic pressure is equal, called as a isotonic solution. So the two solutions osmotic pressure pi 1 is equals to pi 2. If pi 1 is equals to pi 2, means what is osmotic pressure, dear students? CRT, C1RT1 is equals to, sorry, temperature is constant, I said, that's why C1RT is equals to C2RT. Okay, now this R and T are constants, that's why these both will cancel. Then C1 is equals to C2, their concentrations are equal, means the solutions at constant temperature, the solutions which are having same osmotic pressure, and automatically their concentrations also be equal. C1 is equals to C2. Then the what is C1 concentration is nothing but number of moles by volume. N1 by V1 is equals to N2 by V2. N2 by V2. If the N1 is nothing but number of moles, weight by gram molecular weight, means W1 by M1 into V1 is equals to W2 by M2 into V2. Okay, if volume is constant, if the volume is constant, then the V1 is equals to V2. Then what happens, dear students? The number of moles will be equal. Then N1 is equals to N2. N1 is equals to N2. Already we know that N1 means W1 by M1 is equals to W2 by M2. W2 by M2 means first solution number of moles of solute is equals to second solution number of moles of solute, means weight by gram molecular weight of first solution solute is equals to weight by gram molecular weight of second solution solute. So this is another relation, dear students. Okay, this is one relation at constant volume, and this is another relation just at a constant temperature only. At constant temperature, then C1 is equals to C2, then N1 by V1 is equals to N2 by V2 is nothing but W1 by M1 V1 is equals to W2 by M2 V2. These relations are very, very important, and based on that relations, they're asking some subjective and objective questions also. Okay, students. Now, what is the example for isotonic solutions? So for isotonic solutions example, if you observe that blood is an isotonic with saline bottles. Blood is isotonic with saline. What is saline? Saline bottles is nothing but it contains 0.9 percentage weight by volume. Weight by volume means 0.9 grams of NaCl. NaCl present in 100 ml of solution. 100 ml of solution is known as saline bottle. So the saline bottle osmotic pressure is equal to our blood osmotic pressure. That's why the saline bottle is easily injected to our blood, and it is mixing because of both osmotic pressures are equal. At the same time, both the concentrations also be equal. Okay, students. Otherwise, what happens? Their concentrations are different. Then it causes to different problems in our body. It causes to different problems in our body. Means it becomes either in hypertonic solution, or it becomes either a hypotonic nature will be happens in our body. Now we need to discuss about what is hypertonic solution and what is hypotonic solution. If hyper and hypotonic is happened under that conditions, then what happens the blood cell? That examples also we need to discuss. Okay, students, let's see. Next concept is hypertonic solution. Hyper means more concentration. You have to remember, more osmotic pressure. Hypo means less. Hypertonic solution. What is hypertonic solution? Hypertonic solution means the solution which having more osmotic pressure, then the solution which having more osmotic pressure than other solution called as hypertonic. Called as a hypertonic solution. Means whatever the solution we are taking into the another solution, compared to that another solution, we are taking the solution, its osmotic pressure should be more. Such type of solutions are called as a hypertonic solution. For example, if you observe that this hypertonic solutions means a blood cell, means if you are taking any cell, a blood cell placed in hypertonic solution, then what happens? A blood cell means for example, this is the solution, dear students. In this solution, this is a hypertonic solution, means the concentration of solution is more. Concentration is more. Concentration of solution is more. Is more than blood cell. The concentration of solution is more than blood cell because its osmotic pressure is more than blood cell osmotic pressure. Means the solution osmotic pressure, let it be taken pi 1, and blood cell osmotic pressure is pi 2. Under that condition, if you are taking the blood cell, then what happened, dear students? Now osmosis, how the osmosis will be takes place? Osmosis means what it is, what I said, dear students. Osmosis means the flow of solvent molecules. Means here the blood cell, this is the blood cell containing water molecules. This is the blood cell. The blood cell containing water molecules will comes outside from the, and the water molecule flows from into the outside solution. Means the water is flowing. Means water will comes outside. Then after that, in the same beaker, okay, in the same beaker, what happened? The blood cell size will be decreases. The blood cell size will be decreases. Means the blood cell, it becomes like, that is called synchronization. That is called a synchronization. Its blood cell size is decreasing. Blood cell size is decreasing. It's called as synchronization. It undergoes a synchronization or synchronize. Why the synchronization is taking place, dear students? Because the concentration of blood cell is less when compared to the solution. The solution osmotic pressure is more, means automatically its concentration is more than the blood cell. Then blood cell means water, H2O. The water will comes out means solvent is water, comes out from blood cell to solution. Okay, is known as synchronization, is known as plasmolysis. And blood cell becomes synchronized, means its size will be decreases. Okay, student, this is about a hypertonic solution. Then hypotonic solution means reverse. Hypotonic solution means what it is, dear students? The second one, hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution means the solution osmotic pressure is less. The solution osmotic pressure is less than the other solution. Is less than the other solution, known as or called as hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution. Okay, students. Now, what happens, dear students? If the blood cell, means you have to take example, a blood cell is placed. You have to take one solution. Now, in this solution, first initially, this is the sample. Its concentration is less. The solution concentration is less. Solution concentration is less than the blood cell. Okay, now in such kind of solutions, blood cell we are taking. This is the blood cell. Then the water molecule will be enters. The water H2O flows into the blood cell. Means under this condition, the solvent means H2O enters into blood cell. It becomes big, means its size will be increases. After that, the size of the blood cell, if you are observed that the solution, its size, it becomes very much high. Means here it is small size, then it after that it becomes very big. Then what happens? That blood cell size increasing by the entering of water, then finally it will becomes blast. It becomes a blast. Okay, burst. Finally it blast burst is known as hemolysis. Okay, students, what is hemolysis? Hemolysis means a blood cell is placed in hypotonic solution, then the blood cell size is increasing and finally burst. What is plasmolysis? Plasmolysis means blood cell is placed in hypertonic solutions, then its size is decreasing, synchronization takes place, is known as a plasmolysis. Size is decreasing and water molecules are coming outside. That's why hypertonic solutions is also known as exoosmosis. It is also known as a exoosmosis. It is an example for exoosmosis. Exoosmosis means the solvent flows from outside, from the blood cell. That's why it is called exoosmosis. If it enters, then it is called endoosmosis. So this hypotonic solutions, it is also known as endoosmosis. Okay, students, it is also known as a endoosmosis. This is about hypertonic solutions and hypotonic solutions. Before that, we are discussed about isotonic solutions. If you understood that isotonic solution, then easily we can understand the hyper and hypotonic solutions. Okay, hyper means the solution concentration is more than the other solution. Hypo, the solution concentration is less than the other solution. So in the presence of hypotonic solutions, if any external cell size is decreases, that is known as a plasmolysis. In hypotonic solution, the external cell size will be increases, then it is called as a hemolysis. Okay, hypotonic solutions are exoosmosis, is an example for exoosmosis, and hypotonic solutions are example for endoosmosis. Hyper is exo and hypo is endoosmosis. Okay, students, next we need to discuss about that reverse osmosis. Okay, reverse osmosis. What is reverse osmosis? Already in that name only it is present, reverse osmosis. Osmosis means what it is, dear student? Osmosis means the flow of solvent molecules from lower concentration to higher concentration side through SPM is known as a osmosis. Reverse means the flow of solvent molecules from higher concentration region to lower concentration region when the applied osmotic pressure is more on the higher concentration side. Means at higher concentration solution side, if you are applied more osmotic pressure, then the solvent molecules are flows from higher concentration region to lower concentration region is known as a reverse osmosis. Okay, students, reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis. What is reverse osmosis? Reverse osmosis means is nothing but if the applied pressure is more than the osmotic pressure on higher concentration, higher concentration, solution side, then solvent molecules, only solvent, not solute, solvent molecules flows from higher concentration to higher concentration to lower concentration, known as reverse osmosis. Okay students, it is about a reverse osmosis. So this reverse osmosis technique or osmotic process is very, very important, and it is used for the purification of salt water. It is used for the purification of salt water. It is useful for the purification or desalinization of salt water or seawater. Purification of seawater or salt water. So for example, you have to just imagine that, dear students, okay, this is SPM, semi permeable membrane. Okay, SPM, lower concentration through SPM. Through SPM, semi permeable membrane. Now this side higher concentration is there, and this side lower concentration. Its concentration is more and concentration is less. Now this, which side concentration is more, that side, same side only we are applying pressure. That applied pressure or external pressure, the external pressure is more than the osmotic pressure, then the solvent molecules, means the water molecule, solvent is water, it is flows from, the water is flows from higher concentration region to lower concentration region, means the water is flowing from this side, higher concentration region to lower concentration region, then is known as a reverse osmosis process. For example, if you are observed that this side water is present, means its concentration is more, means like a salt water, sea water, you have to imagine that. Okay, the sea water means is nothing but water plus NaCl. Okay, is the composition of water plus NaCl. This side just you have to take a pure water. Pure water means solvent only. Pure water, its concentration is low, because solvent's concentration is always less than the solution concentration. Its concentration is more. Then what happens, dear students? Just from this NaCl and water, water is flowing outside. Water will comes outside through SPM. Then automatically the salt water, just it has NaCl will be left out. Then the water will comes outside. So that water we are using for drinking and all. So the reverse osmosis process is main importance of reverse osmosis process is used for the purification of sea water or purification of salt water. By using reverse osmosis technique, we can purify the salt water, we can purify the sea water. Okay student, this is about reverse osmosis. Okay, let's see the last concept from this colligative properties. Generally, this, if you are observed that these all colligative properties are applicable to dilute solutions in which solute does not undergoes either association or does not undergoes dissociation. In that case, the colligative properties In that case, the colligative properties, the first one is RLVP, relative lowering of vapor pressure, is equals to mole fraction of solute. The second one is delta TV, elevation of boiling point, is equals to Kb into molality Km. And the third one is delta TF is equals to Kf into molality Km. Okay, and fourth one is osmotic pressure, pi is equals to C into R into T Km. Now these are applicable in dilute solutions. In dilute solutions, these formulas are applicable in dilute solutions in which solute cannot undergoes dissociation, cannot undergoes dissociation or association, then only it is applicable. For example, what kind of solutes cannot undergo say the dissociation or association? For example, solute examples like urea cannot undergo say the dissociation or association. Glucose cannot undergo say the dissociation or association. Okay, but if NaCl is there, very lower quantity, it is not applicable because Na plus and Cl minus. Then under that condition, if there ionization means it is dissociation or association. Acetic acid is there. Acetic acid in benzene solvent or benzoic acid in benzene solvent, then it will be dimerized will take place, means association will take place. Under that conditions, how the colligative properties are changing, because already we know that colligative properties Cp, this colligative properties depends on number of solute particles, so if solute particles, so when the solute particles, if dissociation takes place means solute particles will be increases, association takes place means the molecules are dimerized, means combination takes place, combining takes place, then colligative properties, number of particles are decreasing means colligative properties are decreasing, means it is happening. But originally means the experimental values and the calculated values are not matching when the solute is maybe either in association or dissociation. Under such conditions, Van 't Hoff has proposed one equation, one factor that is known as Van 't Hoff factor. So either in association or dissociation case, the Van 't Hoff factor is not equal to 1, means that is called abnormal colligative properties. So the all colligative properties we must have to multiply it with Van 't Hoff factor. If the Van 't Hoff factor I is equals to 1 means normal colligative property, means the solute cannot dissociate, cannot associate. If the I value is not equal to 1 means more than 1 means dissociation takes place. I value is less than 1 means association takes place. So now we need to discuss about abnormal colligative properties and Van 't Hoff factor. Okay, what are the abnormal colligative properties and what is Van 't Hoff factor, and after Van 't Hoff factor, how the colligative properties are becomes, that concept we need to discuss. Okay students, let's listen carefully, and it is very very important. And last concept, abnormal colligative properties Cp and Van 't Hoff factor. Van 't Hoff factor I. Okay, so already I discussed that if solute dissociates, then the number of particles increases, then the colligative properties are increasing, means the colligative properties, experimental colligative properties are not equal to theoretical calculated colligative properties. If solute is associates, associates, then the number of particles are decreasing, then the colligative properties are decreasing. So under these conditions, abnormal colligative properties are present. Colligative properties are present. So to avoid this problem, Van 't Hoff proposed one factor is known as Van 't Hoff factor. So the Van 't Hoff factor is nothing but I. What is Van 't Hoff factor? Van 't Hoff factor is nothing but it is the ratio of the experimental colligative properties divided by calculated colligative properties is also nothing but number of moles of particles present in solution divided by number of moles of particles taken in a solution. Moles of particles taken in solution. Then I will come. If I is equals to 1 means how many particles are present in a solution, and is equals to how many particles initially we are entering into the solution, both are equal. Then I is equals to 1 means normal colligative properties. If I not equal to 1 means abnormal colligative properties. Okay, students, for dissociation I values more than 1 and association I values less than 1 means both either dissociation is 100% or in association is also 100%. Then alpha means degree of dissociation constant alpha is equals to 1, and degree of association constant alpha is equals to 1. In that case, the I value is less than 1 and here I value is more than 1. Okay, will comes like that. For examples, let's see, dear students. For example, NaCl is present. If the NaCl is 100% ionized, then forms one Na plus and one Cl minus. Then the I is equals to 2. I value is equals to 2 because initially it is one molecule. Then I is equals to 2 by 1 is equals to 1 will comes. Same way, for example, CaSO4 calcium sulfate is completely ionized to give Ca plus 2 plus SO4 2 minus. Then the I is equals to 2 by 1 is equals to 1. Next, K4FeCN6 potassium ferrocyanide. It will be ionized to gives 4K plus plus FeCN6 times 4 minus. So if on complete ionization, the I value how much will comes, dear students? I value is equals to, in the aqueous solutions, total 5 ions are there, 5 by 1 is equals to 5. For example, Al2SO4 thrice. It will be ionized to gives 2 Al plus 3 plus 3 SO4 2 minus also. Then I is equals to total in aqueous solutions. How many ions are present? 5 are present. Before, how many we are taking? 1. 5 by 1 is equals to 5. Like that, for dissociation cases, I values are coming because 100% dissociation takes place. If in association means acetic acid, CH3COH, in dimerization takes place. The dimerization takes place like this. It will be dimerized. due to hydrogen bonding. Okay, students, now it becomes 2 becomes 1. So for this case, 2 molecules are converted into 1 molecule, then I is equals to 1 by 2 is equals to 0.5. And benzoic acid also, 2 moles of benzoic acid in benzene solvent, it undergoes dimerize like this, same OH, then phenyl group. Okay, and forms 2 hydrogen bonds. Means it is 2 is becomes to 1, then its Van der Waals factor I value is equals to 1 by 2 is equals to 0.5. Dimerize means 2 molecules are converted into 1 molecule. For example, trimerize. Trimerize means 3 is converted into 1, then I is equals to 1 by 3. If tetramerize means I is equals to 1 by 4. Like that you have to remember this one. That is called association. That is called in association I values are decreasing less than 1. 100% association will take place. If 100% dissociation and 100% association not takes place, then what is the relation between I, Van der Waals factor, I value and degree of dissociation constant or degree of association constant relation we need to discuss. Okay, students, let's see regarding that the relation between alpha and I. Okay, students, relation between degree of dissociation constant alpha and Van der Waals factor I, the relation we need to discuss. For example, means in dissociation means AN molecules are converted into Na. Okay, is ionized into Na. Now initial, so actually direct formula we need to remember, but how that formula came also just I am explaining for understanding purpose. For example, it is 1 at initial, it is 0. After some time means is not 100% ionized, somewhat it will be ionized, that is 1 minus alpha and forms N alpha, and forms N alpha molecules are formed. Okay, after some time number of particles in solution is equals to 1 minus alpha plus N alpha. Okay, 1 minus alpha plus N alpha. Then before how many are there after some time? Before it is 1 is present, after some time it is becomes 1 minus alpha plus N alpha it becomes. Then I is equals to how many particles are present in a solution? 1 minus alpha plus N alpha divided by 1. Okay, students, now is nothing but here you have to take common alpha, then I minus 1 is equals to 1 minus I minus 1 is equals to 1 minus alpha. If you are taking common means alpha into N minus 1 will comes, N minus 1. Okay, sorry dear students, wrong here I written, because it is the denominator means if it is goes to, then it becomes I is equals to 1 minus of alpha. If you are taking common means alpha into, sorry, just if you are right that alpha into alpha, if you are taking common means N minus 1 This 1 will goes to that's right side, left side, then I minus 1 it will come. Then alpha is equals to I minus 1 by n minus 1. This is the relation for dissociation constant and Van Hoff factor. Alpha is equals to I minus 1 by n minus 1. Now in the association, relation between association constant. So association constant also we have to take as alpha only. But the question it will be very clear either that solute particles undergoes association or dissociation, or does not undergoes association or dissociation. Does not undergoes association or dissociation, then alpha is I is equals to 1 because alpha is equals to 0. Okay, then if it is dissociation means alpha value will be more. Okay, either association alpha value will be decreases. In association constant alpha and I, let's see dear students, for example Na molecules are converted into An, then initially it is 1, you have to think it is 0, after sometimes it is 1 minus alpha, it becomes alpha by n. Okay, now I is equals to, in a solution, 1 minus alpha plus alpha by n came divided by 1, then alpha is equals to I minus 1 by n